Welcome, everyone. Today we are going to transform your Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat experience. We are moving away from a cluttered, confusing list of generic queries and learning how to build a highly organized, easily searchable archive. Our main focus today is mastering the Rename a Chat feature. Let's get started. Let's kick things off by defining what conversation management actually is. As our first bullet points out, it is the deliberate, active organization of your historical interactions with Microsoft 365 Copilot. The basics rely on the Conversations menu, which acts as a searchable archive of every session you've had. Why is this so crucial for business professionals? Because every prompt and response contributes to a broader conversation. If you are juggling multiple projects, managing these chats helps you stay highly organized and maintain absolute clarity across your workflows. How do we do this? By regularly interacting with the Conversations menu to locate, review, and rename our threads. For our deep dive, I want you to shift your mindset. Copilot isn't a search engine where you type a query and forget it. It is a persistent knowledge workspace. If you fail to manage your conversations, you lose the ability to seamlessly resume complex tasks, forcing you to start from scratch every single time. Take a look at the flowchart on your screen, which maps out the lifecycle of a Copilot interaction. At the top, you start with a standard Copilot chat interaction. Every chat automatically flows into the Conversations menu. Here, you face a critical fork in the road. If you take the left path into unmanaged chaos, where you never organize your history, it leads directly to lost insights and wasted time. However, if you take the right path of active management, you transform that menu into a searchable, persistent workspace. This organized path leads to the ultimate goal at the bottom, the ability to resume complex tasks instantly. This diagram perfectly visualizes why actively managing your chats is the secret to unlocking true AI productivity. Now that we understand the value of managing conversations, we have to confront the primary obstacle: default chat names. What are they? Default chat names are the automatic, often highly generic titles that Copilot assigns the moment you begin a new thread. The basics of this system mean that if your first prompt is "draft an email to the team," that becomes the title of your chat. Why is this a massive problem for your workflow? Because if you rely on these defaults, within a week your sidebar will be cluttered with ambiguous titles. You'll have 5 chats named "draft an email" and 10 named "summarize." How does this impact your day? It drastically increases the time it takes to locate a specific, valuable conversation. For our deep dive, let's talk about cognitive load. When your workspace is filled with identical titles, you are forced to manually click into each chat and read the context just to find your project data. This completely destroys your efficiency and is the exact problem we are going to solve today. Let's explore this mind map, which breaks down the negative ripple effects of relying on default chat names. At the center root, we have the core issue: default chat names. Branching to the top right, we see generic titles, with examples like draft email or summarized document titles that tell you absolutely nothing about the actual content. Branching to the bottom right, we see user frustration, which highlights how these generic titles make it incredibly hard to search and waste your time by forcing you to click through them manually. Finally, on the bottom left, we see the overall workflow impact, which includes lost context and a high cognitive load. This visual clearly outlines why accepting default names is detrimental to your daily productivity. This brings us to our main focus and the ultimate solution: the Rename a Chat feature. What exactly is this? It is a built-in organizational tool that empowers you to assign custom, highly descriptive titles to your individual AI conversation threads. The basics are straightforward. You are simply replacing the AI's generic guess with a human-readable tag of your own choosing. Why is this the most important organizational habit you can build? Because renaming chats helps you categorize your work by specific topics, making it infinitely easier to locate and manage those conversations days or weeks later. How do you access it? It's hidden in plain sight, accessible via the 3-dot menu next to any chat title in your history. For a deep dive, think of a custom name as a powerful metadata tag. When you rename a chat to something specific, you are directly optimizing that thread for Copilot's built-in search bar, turning a messy history into a structured database. This streamlined flowchart perfectly illustrates the transformative power of renaming a chat. On the far left, we start with a generic chat named the default state. By actively applying the rename feature, we transition into a custom topic title. Notice how this new, custom title branches into 2 distinct operational benefits. First, it creates enhanced searchability, making the chat easy to find. Second, It enables thematic organization, allowing you to visually group your projects. Both of these powerful benefits funnel directly into our ultimate goal on the far right, rapid information retrieval. This visual proves that a few seconds spent renaming a chat pays massive dividends in future time saved. Let's get highly practical and walk through the exact, step-by-step user interface workflow required to rename a chat. As defined, this is a simple, 5-step process that you execute entirely within the left-hand sidebar. Let's break it down. Step 1, open your Conversations menu. Step 2, scroll through and find the specific chat you want to organize. Step 3 is the trigger. Hover over the chat and select the 3-dot menu, often called the ellipses, located right next to the current title. This opens your action drop-down. Step 4, select Rename from that list and actively type in a new name that perfectly reflects the chat's true purpose. Finally, Step 5, select Save. Within seconds, the generic title is replaced. I highly recommend doing this immediately after concluding any significant work session, so your history remains pristine and perfectly cataloged. Let's trace this exact workflow through the sequence diagram on your screen. On the left, we have you, the user. In the middle is the Conversations menu interface, and on the right is the back-end Copilot system. The flow begins when you locate your target chat and click the 3-dot menu. The UI responds by displaying your action list. You then select Rename. In Step 5, you enter your new, descriptive name and hit Save. This is where the interface communicates with the backend. The menu sends the update to the Copilot system, which permanently updates the chat record. In the final step, the system pushes the new title back to your screen. It is a seamless, closed-loop interaction that takes only moments to execute. You now know the mechanics of renaming, but what should you actually type? This brings us to best practices for naming conventions. What is a naming convention? It is a standardized, deliberate method for titling your chats to maximize their future discoverability. The basics are simple. A good name should instantly tell you what project the chat is for and what specific task was performed. Why do we need a standard? Because if you just type whatever comes to mind, your custom names will eventually become just as chaotic as the default ones. How do we do this effectively? We use a structured format. A highly effective structure is project name, followed by document type, followed by the date. For example, renaming a chat to Project Titan, Marketing Plan Draft. For a deep dive, always front-load your most important keywords. Sidebars are narrow and text gets cut off. By putting the project name first, you ensure the most critical identifying information is always visible when you quickly scan your history. This visual breaks down the anatomy of a perfect chat title using our naming convention structure. At the top, the structure splits into 3 essential components: the project or client name, the task or document type, and the date or status. Following the arrows down to the examples, we see Contoso for the client, Q3 executive summary for the task, and final review for the status. When we combine these 3 distinct elements as shown by the dotted arrows converging at the bottom, we get the ultimate result: Contoso, Q3 exec summary, final review. This diagram proves that a structured approach to renaming completely eliminates ambiguity and sets you up for long-term organizational success. All this renaming effort pays off the moment you need to find something. Let's discuss searchability and finding previous conversations. What is this? It's the process of using Copilot's built-in search tools to instantly retrieve your organized history. The basics involve either visually browsing the Conversations menu or, more efficiently, using the search bar located at the top. Why is this capability so critical? Because quickly retrieving past chats allows you to seamlessly follow up on pending tasks or resume complex work without having to start over and reprompt the AI. How do you do it? You simply type the specific keywords you used in your custom title into the search bar. For our deep dive, understand the direct connection here. Renaming your chat directly feeds the Copilot search index. If you rename a chat to Client Feedback, typing Client into the search bar uses that exact metadata to return instant, hyper-accurate results. Let's follow the search workflow in this horizontal diagram. On the far left, the user needs past data. The immediate action is to enter a keyword in the search bar. This request hits the search engine index decision node. If you followed our previous advice and renamed your chats, the engine matches the custom name and instantly drops down to retrieve the client feedback chat. This leads straight to your goal: seamlessly resume work. However, look at the dotted path. If you left your chats with generic, default names, the search engine struggles, leading to a failed or slow retrieval. This visual undeniably proves that renaming your chats is the prerequisite to effective searching. Let's elevate your skills with an advanced workflow, transitioning your renamed chats into a Copilot notebook. What is this? It's the process of taking a highly valuable conversation and moving it into a more permanent, editable environment. The basics. A notebook is a flexible workspace designed specifically for organizing and building on your thoughts over longer periods. Why should you do this? Because sometimes a quick chat yields brilliant strategic ideas or perfect draft content. Instead of letting those gems fade into your chronological chat history, even if renamed, you preserve them in a dedicated space. How do you execute this? You open a notebook, add your saved chat context, and then use the workspace to add manual notes or upload new files to build upon the original dialogue. Diving deeper, notebooks are the ultimate tool for long-term iteration. You can take a renamed chat, drop it in a notebook, and continuously refine the output over weeks without ever cluttering your primary chat feed. Let's look at how we graduate a chat into a formal project using this flowchart. At the top, we start with a successfully renamed chat, Q1 strategy. We then hit a decision node to analyze value. If the chat has transient, short-term value, we take the left path and simply leave it in the chat history. But if the chat contains high or long-term value, we take the right path and add it to a Copilot notebook. Once inside the notebook, it enters the iterative editing workspace. Here, you can actively synthesize it with new files, combining AI generation with human refinement. Ultimately, this structured workflow leads to the creation of a final master document at the very bottom. Let's tie everything together with a highly impactful, real-time use case, the monthly reporting cycle. Imagine your scenario. On the first of every month, you use Copilot to generate a complex marketing performance report. Here's the problem. If you never rename your chats, by December your history will contain 12 identical threads, all generically named Analyze Data. If your boss asks for a year-over-year comparison, it is functionally impossible to find the right data quickly. Here is the solution in action. In August, right after generating the report, you immediately rename the chat to Marketing Report, August 2026. You do this every month. The retrieval phase becomes effortless. When December rolls around and your boss asks for August-specific insights, you don't panic. You simply type August marketing into the search bar and that exact, highly detailed conversation appears instantly. The ultimate impact here is profound. By taking 5 seconds to rename a chat, you transform Copilot from a temporary calculator into a perfectly filed, instantly searchable corporate archive. This final diagram maps out our real-world success story. On the top left, the monthly report is generated. Crucially, this flows immediately into the highlighted action box, renamed to Marketing, August 2026. Months later, a trigger occurs on the bottom left. The boss requests August data. You respond by moving to Search, August Marketing. Because you established the metadata back in August shown by the dotted line connecting the rename action to the retrieval, the exact chat is retrieved instantly. This perfectly organized workflow leads to the final outcome on the far right, an instant executive response. You look like a genius, all because you mastered the simple art of renaming a chat.
To find related ebook and other material for this training course, go to quicktechie.com. Now you will see all the video courses are available here. So let's move to the ebooks. You can go here, ebooks, all AI related ebooks like you are watching currently Mythos related training. That ebook would be uploaded under this section. You can download this ebook. PDF would be available, all 300-page PDF. So you just click on the download this entire ebook. You can download from this section. So whatever training you are currently listening, corresponding ebook would be available. We have thousands of ebooks available. Now, other than that, we have on video courses which you are watching right now. This also all AI related courses are available. Similarly, for all company related trainings are available like Microsoft. You can find it here with their respective certification training modules. All exam simulators which would help you to get the certification preparation. Just refresh if you get this kind of error. Okay, so now you can see these are all certification preparation materials. Will also be click here to the NVIDIA certification preparation material. So you can see all NVIDIA certification preparation materials and click on any of this and it would load the entire screen and you can launch the practice paper. So this is what you can see, that you can submit the answer. We have an audiobooks available. Okay, so for each section, and these are our alumni who can you can find out all alumni who are accessing our portal.